If you struggle with ongoing anger or persistent resentment, this video just might save your life. Ongoing and persistent anger or resentment can lead to all kinds of serious health issues, including digestion problems, diabetes, COPD, heart problems, and autoimmune problems, plus many, many more. Today is the day to get a handle on your negative emotions because your life might depend on it. Hi everyone, welcome back to Mindset Mastery. I'm Hirsch and I'm so glad you're here with us today. We're going to talk about the connection between your mind and body and how ongoing anger or resentment can contribute to toxic stress that can actually pollute your body to the point of disease or even death. Let's talk about stress. Stress occurs when experiences feel overwhelming and we don't feel like we have the resources to deal with the situation. But I bet you didn't know that all stress is not negative. In fact, there is something called positive stress, and that's the kind of stress that gets us elevated so that we are motivated to prepare for a test or prepare to speak in public, or perhaps it just helps us get up in the morning. When we experience positive stress, our stress response system gets activated and releases chemicals in increasing amounts. The thing about positive stress is once the situation is over, once we've taken the exam or once we've done the speech, the hormone levels decrease and go back to normal. Another kind of stress is called tolerable stress. Tolerable stress is the kind of stress we experience when a sudden event happens or we feel like we're in some sort of danger. And again, the hormones and the chemicals increase. They get to a high level, but then when the event is over, our bodies again return to a normal, relaxed state. But toxic stress, that is something totally different. Toxic stress occurs when we have persistent, ongoing high-level stress. So our cortisol levels, our hormone levels increase and increase and increase, and they stay at that elevated state for long periods of time. Or toxic stress can also occur when we experience repeated high stress situations over and over and over again, so that our stress response system is sort of hijacked and we stay at that high stress level with all of those hormones and other chemicals flooding the body. The central nervous system gets flooded and our bodies stay in constant fight or flight for far too long. When too much of the stress response chemicals are secreted into our body, it pollutes the whole body and deteriorates our organs and other parts of our body so that the systems in our body don't function properly. Ongoing and repeated stress that creates a toxic stress environment could occur if you have ongoing anger or resentment that doesn't subside. Toxic stress contributes to cardiovascular problems like increased risk of stroke, heart palpitations, increased risk of heart attack, high blood pressure, and increased risk of heart disease. Toxic stress also contributes to increased risks of cancer, diabetes, autoimmune problems, and inflammation. The chemicals secreted with toxic stress actually change the brain's structure and functioning. In addition to the physical manifestations of toxic stress, there are also serious mental health consequences, such as anxiety and depression, sleep problems, obesity, alcohol and drug abuse, learning, memory, and emotional regulation problems, PTSD, poor interpersonal relationships, and even suicide. Chronic anger is like a pressure cooker with the steam building up until it finally explodes. And resentment is like a simmering feeling of bitterness. It's like carrying a very heavy backpack all day, every day. It's like a car engine. If you keep the car engine constantly revving, eventually something's going to wear out. It's important to know that while negative emotions are not comfortable, it's important not to suppress them. Negative emotions actually help us evaluate situations and tell us when something is wrong with our health, our relationships, or something else. So often people tell me stories about how something someone did bothered them, but often people don't want to talk about it. They say something like, I'm over it, or it is what it is, or there's nothing I can do to change it anyway. The problem is When you ignore negative emotions, they simmer in the background, even though you're not aware of it. And when those negative emotions are simmering in the background, your brain is acting as though you're in danger, sending out all of those stress response hormones throughout your body. So even a low humming resentment that might be years old, it's still humming in the background, and your brain responds as though you're in danger and sends out all of those stress response hormones, which flood your brain and flood your body with a sort of poison. As I've talked about in other videos, your immediate negative response to situations is never going to go away because that's a survival mechanism that's geared towards keeping us safe. But there is work you can do to decrease your anger and to clean up those resentments so that your body is not in a fight or flight state constantly. There's a book that I've recommended before called Loving What Is by Byron Katie. And in that book, she offers a process called The Work to help clean up negative thoughts. I encourage you to check it out. I've taken my clients through the work with terrific results. If you are interested in learning more about doing the work to clean up your resentments, we can work together. Please visit my website or click the link below. As I've said many times, if you can change your thoughts, you can change your life. Another approach is to develop a different perspective and reframe the situation. Perhaps you might evaluate the situation from the other person's point of view, or consider what else might be happening besides what you initially think is occurring. One of the best ways to get over anger or resentment is to recognize that there's nothing you can do to change the situation. So the situation has happened and there's nothing you can do about it, but you can think about, how can I move forward now that that situation has happened? What steps can I take to get rid of my anger, to get rid of my resentment, to make sense of the situation and take steps to move forward in a way that feels good to me? Meditation offers another approach to combating negative emotions like anger and resentment. Sometimes breathing deeply for a minute or so can calm your central nervous system down to a point where you can get into a more relaxed state. Another approach to calming down a heightened central nervous system is to do what's called 4x4 breathing. So what you do is you inhale for 4 counts, hold for 4 counts, and then exhale for 4 counts and hold for 4 counts. So it looks like this. And you keep going for 4 counts, inhaling, holding for 4 counts, exhaling for 4 counts, and holding for 4 counts. Do that for about a minute, one cycle after another. It's really hard for your central nervous system to stay elevated when you're doing this kind of deep breathing. Getting fresh air can be so useful in calming your central nervous system down also. Perhaps taking a walk around the block is just enough to get you back to a place where you can think clearly. I encourage you to consider taking better care of your body to reduce anger or resentment. Exercise is so helpful in calming the central nervous system down. When you exercise, endorphins are released, muscle tension is decreased, your stress hormones are reduced. Exercise also improves sleep and can take your mind off of the situation that is causing you to feel negative emotions. Eating healthy can also combat the effects of toxic stress because you are what you eat. The foods that you put into your body impact your body's functioning. So be mindful about the foods you pick and eat. Staying hydrated is another way that you can take care of your body to reduce the impacts of toxic stress. There is no doubt that our mental health and our physical health are deeply connected, but toxic stress does not have to control your life. Taking small, intentional steps can make a big difference in improving your mental health and your physical health. If you found the information in this video helpful, please press the thumbs up button and share this video with someone who may benefit from it. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future videos. I'm so glad you were here with us today. I hope you tune in next week for our next episode of Mindset Mastery.